Good morning, everyone. I am D. Sharada, working as a DL in botany, TTWRDC Women, Asifabad. Today, we are going to learn about the topic Macamcia. Macamcia is one of the bryophyte member. One of the bryophyte member. Division, systematic position of Macamcia. Division Bryophyta, class Hepaticapsida, order Macamcialis, family Macamciaceae, genus Macamcia. Some of the important Macamcia species are Macamcia palmata, Macamcia polymarpa, Macamcia assamica, Macamcia nepalensis. Occurrence. The plants are cosmopolitan in distribution, that is, they are seen in throughout the world. The genus Macamcia includes about 65 species distributed all over the world. In India, only 11 species have been reported. All the species are terrestrial, growing on moist banks of streams. Common Indian species are Macamcia polymarpa. Macamcia polymarpa is widely distributed species. There are 11 species reported from India. Macamcia is usually growing on moist places in shaded areas near streams and tanks. 3 species in India. Macamcia species are Macamcia polymata, Macamcia nepalensis and Macamcia polymarpa. Macamcia commonly grows in moist, cool, shady areas on surface of damp soils of streams, springs, water courses, dam ravines and wet rocks. They appear as dense green patches. The name is originated based on French scientist Nicolas Marchant as Macamcia, in which thallus looks like liver shaped. That's why these are called liverwort. The dominant phase of Macamcia is a gametophyte. Let us learn about gametophyte morphology. The morphology of gametophyte. Gametophyte of Macamcia is a simple thallus that is not differentiated into root, stem or leaf like structure. It is dorsiventrally flattened, prostrate, creeping on the ground and dichotomously branched. Dichotomously branched. When we look at the dorsal surface of the thallus, is dark green in its color, shows our prominent midrib, which is the extends from the posterior end of the thallus to the anterior end. Midrib is shallow, prominent and broad. On the dorsal surface, we find the whole thallus large number of polygonal rhomboidal cells. These polygonal rhomboidal cells are called areolae. In the center of the areolae, in an opening, these openings are called as the air pores, which helps in the exchange of gases. Each areolae is correspond to air chamber. Beneath thallus, that is every rhomboidal areole is a marking of the air chamber present beneath it. On the midrib of the thallus, there are small cup-like structures present. These cup-like structures are called gemma cups. Small globose bodies called as gemma are seen. Gemma helps in vegetative reproduction of the plant. On the dorsal surface, the thallus is dark green, has a prominent midrib, shows the presence of rhomboidal areoles called areolae. In the center of each areolae, is air pores, which helps in exchange of gases. On the dorsal side, there are small crescent shape cup-like structure, shallow in nature. These shallow cup-like structures are called as the gemma cups. Inside the gemma cups, gemma are the seen, which helps in the vegetative propagation. In the apical region is the notch is seen. This notch is called as the apical notch. In the apical notch, growing tissue is concentrated on the apical notch of growing cells, which helps in the growth of the thallus. This is the dorsal surface of the thallus. Sex organs are borne on special upright branches. Antheridiopores bear the antheridia, whereas archegoniospores bear the archegonia. Let us ventral surface of the thallus. Okay, in told the thallus, ventral surface in the center of the thallus, we find a bridge-like structures which corresponds to the midrib of the dorsal region. In the side of this midrib, these are small membranous structure called scales are seen. These scales of Macamcia are arranged an angle of 45 degree and appear of two rows. In certain species of Macamcia, there are 3 to 4 rows of scales are present. Scales of Macamcia are of two types. One is called as the ligulate scales and the other one is called appendiculate scales. The ligulate scales are simple membranous structure which are multicellular structure that are single cell in thickness. The appendiculate scales are similar to ligulate scales, but they have construction in the uh, apical region because of the apex is drawn into the subrounded structures. These cells are called as appendiculate scales. Next, these scales are again multicellular but are single celled in the thickness. Both the cells are prominent color because of the presence of pigment called as anthocyanin. That is the sense of on the scales of accumulate on the anthocyanin, they appear, that is the ventral surface of the thallus. The thallus shows dark green. The appendicular scales are seen very close to the midrib region, whereas the ligulate scales are seen towards the periphery from beneath the scales on the ventral surface. We find the rhizoids emerging out. The rhizoids of Macamcia which helps in anchorage and absorb nutrients. Rhizoids are of two types, smooth walled rhizoids and other one is the tuberculated rhizoids. The smooth walled rhizoids are simple finger like projections and have smooth outer and inner walls, whereas tuberculated rhizoids have small. The inner surface of tuberculated rhizoids is drawn into peg like projections. The inversion of tuberculated rhizoids. And next we are going to the thallus anatomy of Macamcia. Thallus anatomy of Macamcia. Okay, mainly the thallus is primitive structure, so it does not have any complex tissues. It only have some parenchymatous tissue. So this internal structure differentiated into three regions. First one is the epidermis region, second one is the photosynthetic region, third one is the storage region. So here the epidermis is again divided into upper epidermis and lower epidermis because it showed dorsiventrally differentiation. So the upper epidermis and lower epidermis are of different colors. Upper epidermis which have single layer of epidermal cells and it is introduced air pores. The upper epidermal layer, not a continuous layer, it is interrupted with air pores. So these air pores are barrel shaped air pores. These air pores consist of 4 to 8 barrel shaped structure. So these barrel shaped air pores which shows a complex structure which has 4 to 8 tiers of cells. These tiers are superimposed which has 4 to 8 tiers of cells. These tiers are superimposed tiers. So each tier which has again 4 to 5 cells, it forms a collar like structure with 16 to 40 cells. So all these cells formed collar like or ring like structure which shows a barrel shaped structures. These air pores mainly which open into the subepidermal region which helps in gaseous exchange, and below the upper epidermis photosynthetic region, that is subepidermal region. Subepidermal region that is again divided into air chambers. So these air chambers are formed by the septa. These septa are 4 to 5 cells, uniseriately arranged cells. So they form a septa are formed by which is a divided. So the subepidermal is a cavity like structure. It's developed from the intercellular spaces. Expanses of the intercellular spaces forms as a cyanogenous cavities. These cyanogenous cavities are also known as air chambers. Next, this subepidermal region is a cavity-like structure which is divided into septa. Now, each chamber consists of a assimilatory filament. These are the branched filament which are full of chloroplast. This helps in the photosynthesis, and they prepare the food material. They take CO2 from the air present in the air chamber and they release the oxygen. So this is also known as photosynthetic region. Photosynthetic region consists of air chambers. The air chambers are divided by septa. Each air chamber consists of assimilatory filament. Each assimilatory filament which are branched, they arranged from the spaces of the air chamber. There are branched structure and have full of chloroplast. They help in photosynthesis, prepares the food material. Now coming to the third region, storage region. Storage region is the third region which are compactly arranged with the intercellular spaces. So this parenchymatous tissue which consists of starch grains, more starch grains and less chlorophyll, and here there are some of the large cells present which is so consist of oil droplets or the mucilaginous material or the oil droplets, and then all the remaining cells which has less chlorophyll and more starch grains. And coming to the lower epidermis. Epidermis is divided into upper epidermis and lower epidermis. The lower epidermis is a continuous layer which is not having any air pores, but it produces some of the rhizoids and scales on the lower side. So the rhizoids are of two types of rhizoids. First one is the smooth walled and tuberculated rhizoids. So what is the function of the rhizoids? As we know, the rhizoids which helps to the absorption of water and anchorage to the thallus, and also you can see presence of scales. The scales also produced the scales are multicellular scales. What is the function of in prevention of the plant from the agitation? Agitation means not going right to the plant. Next we are going to the reproduction in Macromycia. Macromycia reproduces by vegetative and sexual methods. Vegetative methods and propagation. Vegetative reproduction takes place regularly by the following methods: by progressive death and decay of the thallus. The mature cells of the gametophyte are short-lived. Gametophyte are prominent midrib areolae. The apical region of the gametophyte, these cells at the posterior region are short-lived, and the death and decay of the older cells begins at the posterior region as the cells decay, and it starts from the posterior end and reaches the anterior region. When the decay increases the point of dichotomy, then these two parts of the thallus get separated and each one develops into new thallus of Macromycia. The second method of vegetative reproduction is by adventitious branches. In some species of Macromycia, adventitious branches are seen on the ventral surface of the thallus. These branches are separation and they develop into the independent of the gametophyte or thallioli. The third one is the gemma cups. Gemma cups are specialized multicellular asexual reproduction bodies. They burn on the dorsal surface of the thalli, on the dorsal surface of the thalli, on the midrib. In shallow cup-like structures, on the midrib, in shallow cup-like structures called as the gemma cups. Each gemma cups is approximately 2 mm in diameter. It is embedded in the thallus and about 3 mm in its height. The margins of the gemma cups are lobed or brinched. They are hyaline, whereas the gemma cups green in color. From the floor of gemma cup, we can see small stout globes are discoid or erased. Margins are hairline, lobed, spiny, or entire. From floor of gemma cup, many small stacked discrete and convex gemma arised. Which constructions on two sides of two notch bilateral sides, the superficial cells the margins nearby two notches towards the margin of the gemma defined layer round growing cells. All the cells of gemma are green in color and contain chloroplast. There are few cells which are colorless. These cells are give rise rhizoids, so it is they are called as the rhizoidal cells. The cytoplasm of these cells is dense cytoplasm and granular. Apart from the gemma, inside the gemma there are small club-like structures which arise from the floor of the gemma cup, which arise, and these club-like structures are the mucilaginous hair. The mucilaginous hair invites water and swells up, and these create a pressure on the gemma which it and get disseminated by rainwater. There is no dorsal and ventral surface for the gemma. The surface of the gemma which comes in contact with the soil becomes the ventral surface, and the surface of the gemma which is the mature gemma when they fall on the substratum from either side, that is these notches. From the two lateral notches, new plants arise from both the sides from the apical regions. Usually gemma present on the male plant will give rise to the male thallus, and gemma grows on the female plant give rise to the female thallus. Sexual reproduction. The sex organs. Sexual reproduction in Macromycia. The sex organs Antheridia and Archegonia are born on special upright stalked branches of the thallus known as antheridiophores and archegoniophores respectively. These reproductive branches are produced only under proper environmental conditions like day length, humidity ratio between carbohydrate and nitrogen of the medium. Macromycia is dioecious as the antheridiophores and archegoniophores are born on different thalli. Each of these branches is composed of a stalk and a terminal horizontal disc. These sexual branches are direct continuous of the prostratalus, which is evident from the dorsiventral nature of the erect shoots with air chambers and rhizoids. The sex organs are exogenous in origin. The antheridiophore, each antheridiophore consists of a 1 to 3 cm long prismatic stalk bearing at its apex usually a 8-lobed disc. On the upper surface of the disc, archegonia lie embedded in flask-shaped antheridial chambers which open by a narrow channel. The antheridial chambers alternate with air chambers. Air chambers contain branched filaments of green cells and open by air pores. The antheridia arise in the acropetal manner. Acropetal manner means oldest towards the center and youngest towards the periphery, and are arranged in radiating antheridium. The mature antheridium consists of a short stalk and globular body. The antheridium body is covered by a single layer jacket which encloses a large number of androcytes, antherozoid mother cells. Each androcyte gives rise to a biflagellate antherozoid. The archegoniophore. Each archegoniophore consists of a long stalk bearing at its apex stellate star-shaped disc with usually 9 rays. At young stage, the archegoniophore forks and becomes swollen at its apex. The apex becomes a rosette-like 8-lobed disc after 3 successive dichotomization in quick succession. Soon, 8 groups of archegonia develops in acropetal succession on the upper surface of the disc, corresponding to the 8 growing points of the disc. The first formed archegonia with their necks direct upwards become mature and fertilization is achieved at this stage. After fertilization, the stalk of the archegoniophore begins the elongate and the sterile center part of the disc starts to enlarge enormously. As a result, the marginal apical regions of the disc along with the groups of archegonia are pushed down to the lower side of the disc. The archegonia become inverted by the curvature of the disc. The youngest archegonium comes close to the stalk and the oldest towards the periphery of the disc. After the curvature, there is a development of one layered plate of tissue on the other side of each group of archegonia. Thus, each group containing about 12 to 15 archegonium is enclosed by a two-layered pendant fringed involucre sheath known as pericytium, which hangs down from the underside of the lobe of the disc. There is an intercalary development of long, stout, green, cylindrical process or rays from the periphery of the disc between the groups of archegonial disc, a stellate form. Macamcia polymarpa, the rays are in 9 in number. They radiate outwards from the central disc-like bead umbrella 9 ribs and give the each archegonial disc a stellate. Next we are going to the archegonium. The mature archegonium is a short stalked structure, flask shaped structure. It consists of a swollen basal venter and long slender neck. The venter is surrounded by a single layered wall and encloses an egg and a ventral canal cell. The neck is composed of 6 vertical rows of jacket cells surrounding an axial column of 4 or more neck canal cells. Next is the sporophyte. Now we are going to the development of sporophyte. After fertilization, the egg enlarges in size until it fills the cavity of the venter and then secretes a cellulose wall around it. It itself becomes the zygote, the first cell of the sporophytic generation. The stimulus of fertilization is also transmitted to the surroundings of gametophytic tissues of the zygote. The cells of the venter wall divided periclinally to form a 2 to 3 layered calyptra which envelops the developing sporogonium. A ring of cells at the base of venter divide and redivide to form a collar-like cylindrical outgrowth. One cell is thickness known as perigynium or pseudoperianth. The sporangium is surrounded by 3 concentric protective gametophytic coverings, calyptra, perigonium and perithecium involucre. At fertilization, first the zygote divides transversely into an upper epibasal and lower hypobasal cell. Further development of embryo shows variations in different species of Macamcia. In Macamcia polymarpa and many other species, the second division of the zygote is at right angle to the first division, resulting in a 4-celled globular embryo. The quadrant stage. The epibasal cells from the capsule and the hypobasal cells the seta and foot. In Macamcia dominogenesis, the epibasal cell develop into the capsule and the upper portion of seta and the hypobasal cells gives rise to the lower portion of seta and the foot. In Macamcia cynopoda, the primary divisions are transverse and thus a 3-celled filamentous embryo is formed on further development the middle into the seta and the apical cell into the capsule. In the quadrant types, the 4-celled embryo divides vertically at right angles to the earlier division, forming a 8-celled embryo. The actant stage. Now the embryo begins to elongate and the subsequent divisions in the 2 regions occurs differentially. The cells in the capsular region divide periclinally to form the peripheral single layered amphithecium and the central many-celled endothecium. The endothecium gives rise to archisporium. The archisporial cells divide and redivide to form a massive sporogenous tissue. Subsequently, about half of the sporogenous tissue develops a large number of spores, spore mother cells. The spore mother cells from source tetrad by meiosis. The remaining cells of the sporogenous tissue remain sterile and functions as the elater mother cells. The elater mother cells are elongated to form long, slender diploid. Spindle shaped elaters tapering at both ends. The elaters pose their protoplasmic contents and develop two spiral bands on the inner surfaces of their cell walls. They are hygroscopic and perform squaring movements to help in dispersal of spores. Next, we are going to the mature of sporophyte. In Macamcia, it is a somewhat elongated structure differentiated into three distinct regions: foot, seta, and capsule. Foot. It is a basal bulbous part of which anchors the sporophyte to the disc of the archegoniophore. It is also absorbs nutrition from the gametophyte. Next is the seta. It is a short, relatively thick stalk connecting the foot and the capsule. After the spores mature, the seta elongates rapidly and pushes the mature capsule out through the calyptra, perigynum and pericytium. Next is we are going to the capsule. Capsule, it is a spherical to oval yellow structure concerned both in the production and distribution of spores. It has a single layered jacket of sterile cells inside the wall. These are numerous spores and elaters. The spores are very minute, rounded and provide with outer thick axon and inner thin intine. The elaters are long, narrow, spindle shaped cells, pointed each and with two spiral thickenings on their walls. These elaters are hygroscopic and help in dispersal of spores. Dispersal of spores. After the spores are mature, the capsule break through the calyptra, perigynum and pericytium by the sudden elongation of the seta and hangs down free and uncovered from the underside of the disc of archegoniophore. The jacket of the mature capsule split longitudinally from apex to about the middle into a variable number of lobes or walls which roll back slightly, exposing the mass of spores and elaters. An exposure of dry atmosphere, drying of capsule occurs and long dispersal, hygroscopic elaters begin to twist. The jerking means of elaters loosen up the spore mass and throw the spores into the air. Air pores are the carried by air currents. This is about Macamcia.